Happy Wednesday night. Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Deep in the Plus every week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. We appreciate it. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV and please click a thumbs up for this video because it helps people to find it. And also, these good people have joined together tonight to talk to you. This is very exciting. We have, for the first time ever, Miss Allison with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for being on tonight. We appreciate it. Mr. Ron Deanna?
Aloha.
Aloha to you. And, of course, Desi, how are you, ma'am?
La 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 la.
You always have your line ready, and usually somebody steals it. And the fact that you were in box 4 and you still got to do your line was great. The hello there got stolen from you. I feel like there was a couple others. So I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about Big Hero 6. I almost said Baymax, but we're going to be talking about Big Hero 6 because, I mean, let's face it, it's the Baymax movie, right? You know, there is a new series out for Baymax, and some we'll talk about at the end a little bit. But Big Hero 6 is a very unique movie to me because it feels a little different than most of the other Disney animated classics. And it is Disney. That's another thing. A lot of people confuse Disney and Pixar. This one, I guess, could have been construed as a Pixar, but it is definitely a Disney movie, and I'm excited to talk about it. So I want to just kind of get your kind of barometer because you guys all joined the show for a specific reason. But I want to start with you, Allison, because you seem to be overflowing with Baymax. So tell us about your passion for Big Hero 6.
Okay, so obviously I love Baymax. I have so much Baymax stuff. I got Baymax stuff right behind me. I have even more. I have this popcorn bucket that I made Spencer get me from Tokyo Disney. And then I would say probably one of the most impressive things is the fact that I had Baymax at my wedding as, let's see if I can get him on screen. There he is. Can you see him?
Yeah, yeah.
So there he is.
So
he was in a little suit, wearing a little top hat, and he was a groomsman.
But why the passion? Like, what is it that drives you about him?
I think that he just has such a pure heart. He just wants to make sure that people are safe and happy and healthy, and it's just so pure and innocent. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why me and my husband just took such a liking to him.
Gotcha. Okay. Ron, what's your story with Big Hero 6?
So I actually got to see what I believe is the first public screening. Is what they told us. New York Comic Con I guess it was 2014 when the movie was coming out. There was the first panel of the whole con was Disney Studios. It was Tomorrowland and Big Hero 6. And they told everybody, check under your seat. And certain people, like if you find a bracelet, you get to go to a screening of the movie that night. I look under my seat and there's nothing there. But the seat next to me was empty. So I look under there, pull out, get the bracelet, and I get to go to the screening that night with the cast, with the directors, producers, Disney PR. There was a nice little, we could, talk to everybody at the end. I had a nice conversation with Don Hall, some of Disney PR. Most of the cast was there, aside from, I believe, Wayans wasn't there. I don't think... I'm completely blanking on his name. He's the guy in every Disney movie now.
Alan Tudyk?
Alan Tudyk was not there for that, but it was the main cast, Hiro, all the other part of the team. They were all really nice. They were really excited for people to see the movie. It was pretty much the finished version. They said it might not be, but everything seemed to be done at that point. But it was really cool. They really wanted to see our reaction, and everybody just loved it from the get-go there. And it was something I was looking forward to because it was both a Marvel and a Disney movie, but not an MCU. So I was really excited to see how they did it because it's based on the comic, but has almost nothing to do with said comic.
Right.
But it's a really cool world and everything, and I really just love the movie from then and there out.
Awesome. All right, Desi.
Um, I just love it. I don't have a cool backstory like Allison or Ron, but
Wow.
maybe as somebody who is both Asian and white, maybe that's why I liked it because Hiro is really like I try to identify with either Moana or Mulan, but Hiro is probably the closest to what I actually am.
Gotcha. Okay. Ron, you touched on this a little bit. Like, this is based on a Marvel comic. How weird is that? That this is something that is. I mean, they don't. Oh, look at that. Allison's got a picture of it. Let's go to that one. Hold on a second. Yeah. So
I have it right here.
she's got the Big Hero 6 comic.
So
Go ahead.
that's Baymax,
Yeah.
that green guy right there. So a little different.
Well, and here's a couple of pictures. Here's Baymax hanging out with Hiro in one of the comics, and then here's like the whole team together in one of the comics. So Go-Go kind of matches up a little bit. Hiro, Honey Lemon, definitely a little bit different take from the Japanese anime comic style, but it was a Marvel comic, and so it's interesting that they would make a Disney movie about a Marvel comic animated, and it not be branded Marvel. I mean, it's not like they don't even brand it, and also to make
There's
such
this
drastic changes.
small cameo.
Yes, there is a cameo of Stan Lee, but I mean, but to make such drastic changes to it as well, because again, like you showed Allison, that's not the Baymax we know and love. It's not huggable and lovable, and he's not a medical friend. He is
No.
he's just kind of mean actually in the comics. So it's interesting again that would be like, hey, we've got this thing, and we're going to base it on this, but we're going to really do none of it. Just make it completely different. So, Ron, you mentioned this came out in 2014, so it's just about 8 years old, but it feels like it's been around and part of the animation like history for a while.
It's one I think people just gravitated to. It was different. Like, this came out, close to the same time as Ralph, and I think those two just seemed very different. And so from today, everything still feels, mostly princessy. I mean, where it's Strange New World or whatever, Strange World, looks like it's going to be in this kind of vein, so we're going to see what it is. But it did feel more Pixar-y, and so did Ralph. And I mean, even there were rumors that they joked around that, I don't remember if it was specifically this or Ralph, where they said between that and Brave, they just switched studios just to see how people would react. And that was an unsubstantiated rumor people had for years. And it does feel that way.
Brave absolutely feels like a Disney movie. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. So when we open up with this movie, there's about 7 minutes of exposition. Exposition drives me crazy if it's not done right, and this time they did it mostly right. But Hiro and Tadashi on the bike making their way away from the robot fights, and him saying something about like, you graduated from high school at 13 years old, and this is how you're acting. He's like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't go to college like you, and it's just like, okay. All right, so they're telling us the story, again, exposition. In the first 7 minutes, you learn that it's, Aunt Cass has a cafe, and that they live with their aunt because their parents died, and it's been 10 years, and, it's just, they just hit you in the face with a lot of information at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But the good news is they get it over with, and they get right to the story, I feel like. So, I mean, that's the plus side. But in the beginning, when they're doing all the exposition of, like, the bait and switch that he does with the bot fight, I mean, that's a pretty cool opening, and I don't know what you guys think about that. Again, you're a Baymax fan. Are you a Hiro fan and the rest of the Big Hero 6, Miss Allison?
Oh, that's such a good question. I enjoy the movie, and I like Hiro. I like his character, but I would say that if Baymax wasn't a part of it, and it was just the 5 friends / superheroes, I probably wouldn't be as attached to the movie or enjoy the movie nearly as much without Baymax, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's. I mean, come on, Hiro's adorable though, right? I mean, he's just such
Oh,
an
I love
innocent
Hiro.
little kid, and he's like, "I have this many. Is this okay?" I mean, the way he plays that whole thing out with the bot fight is pretty funny, and he's just like, it's a classic hustle that he's doing. But when it first opened up, before we really see anything, we don't really know what's happening. We kind of buy into it as well, I think. But something's going to happen. You know that he's going to win this bot fight. So
I like when he pulls out the second wad of money and it's all nicely rolled with the rubber. It's like he
Right.
knows he's here to play.
yeah, and then he's kind of like a little bit pompous about it at this point. He's like, oh well, if you don't want to take my money, and he's no longer like playing around with this guy. So basically, in the story, his parents died when he was 3. His older brother Tadashi and Hiro, they live with their Aunt Cass, played by Maya Rudolph, which I think is one of those things where when I looked at Aunt Cass, I was like, okay, it's Aunt Cass. Then when I hear it's Maya Rudolph, now all I see is Maya Rudolph when I'm watching that
I did
character.
not know that.
Oh, did I ruin it for you?
Maybe. I don't
okay.
know. I'll have to watch it again and let you know.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it definitely feels like. I don't know. It feels kind of neat the way that their little family unit, and she's the aunt, and she's yelling at them, but again, more exposition, like ever since I took you in, and then they go and hang out at the cafe, and you see the big, like the tall streets, or the high streets, and you go, okay, this is I see this is San Francisco, but it's not. In the comic, it's Tokyo, but in this, it's, and I think you mentioned it's San Fransokyo. Why did they do that, Desi?
To appeal to me specifically.
Just to you?
I thought it was cute. I like how it's its own city as opposed to trying to fit into something else. But they also kind of merged two cultures together. And I thought it was done really cute.
Well, one of the problems that I have with that, though, is that there's a lot of Japanese on the buildings, but no one actually speaks it.
I mean,
I guess San Fransokyo.
Names.
They do, but no one ever speaks it. Is that not troublesome?
I think.
I mean, they start with the San Fran. Maybe if it was Tokyo Cisco.
No, I don't.
Japanese.
I don't accept that answer, Allison. What's your better answer?
Well, I was gonna say that one, it's probably just a practical thing to appeal to like a wider audience of Americans, but I do see. I think it was in the Baymax Disney Plus series, the one with that had the 6th episode that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few times when I see Hiro at the very end of an episode and he's on the computer and it's in Japanese. So Japanese is incorporated even in other ways rather than just spoken as well.
I like that better than Desi's answer. That was great. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. So then Tadashi is trying to keep Hiro on the straight and narrow. Hiro wants to go back to bot fighting. He's like, why do I have to do any stupid education thing when I can make a bunch of money bot fighting? So Tadashi takes Hiro to Tron Light Cycle Run. and they have a good time. No, he takes him to his nerd school, as they keep calling it, and that's where, again, through sort of exposition, we're meeting all of the characters. It's like, yep, that's Wasabi, and Wasabi, he does this, and Hiro's like, oh, is that this and that, and so we're hearing how smart Hiro is, and then all of these characters and what their specialties are. At this point, I want to ask, out of all the powers that they end up getting, which one do you think is the best power, Desi? I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to go around to everybody. Which one do you think is the best power?
I mean, I think Honey Lemon's powers of, like, being able to come up with random concoctions on the fly and throw them out seems pretty cool.
So Honey Lemon having a purse. Got it. Ron, what do you think is the best one?
I think like Fred's suit has both has the strength, the agility built in, and like offensive capabilities.
Okay.
You just like it because it looks like a dragon.
All All right, Allison, what about you?
Gosh, I feel like I love like Go-Go's kind of like they remind me of like in the '90s when I would like use my rollerblades and she's just like zooming around. So I kind of respect that a lot. But I do like Honey Lemon. I love her like like typing in little like chemistry codes and mixing different chemicals together, and she's still incorporating the science even after the thing has been created. So I really like that.
Okay.
Can I change my mind and say I like Go-Go because she's a soul skater?
Yeah, so I mean, it's no secret that that's the big Hero 6. These are our heroes of the movie, but I no, you can't say it because of the whole Soul Skater thing. Sorry, that's not a thing you should say. Okay, I was just curious about that. I jumped ahead a little bit, but let me ask you. So when we go into the school and he learns he wants to be there, then he decides he has to go to this school, and so he creates these microbots, and then he displays the microbots at this big like kind of like a festival or a con or a trade show for it's basically a science fair that's held at the school, and so he's trying to impress Mr. Callahan, who is the guy who runs the school, and so then there's Alistair Cray, who is played by, as you mentioned, Alan Tudyk. So Alan Tudyk, who is obviously the lucky charm for Disney when it comes to their animated movies. He has been in all of them. The fact that he is the voice of Hey Hey, that seems like a little bit of a cheat. But
If you just told me Alan Tudyk was in this movie, I would have guessed he was Baymax. Because Baymax's voice sounds so similar to K2SO to me.
Yeah, a little
okay.
bit.
Yeah, I mean, really, they shouldn't go anywhere without Alan Tudyk, because they put him in all these other things that they do too. But I was mentioning, I think in one show we were talking about Powerless, the TV show that they did about DC characters, and he was Bruce Wayne's cousin. And you know, he just, and then I think you mentioned he was Wash on Firefly. So he's a great actor. He was in Suburgatory, which was a half-hour sitcom where he played a dentist in a rich neighborhood. I mean, he just kind of does it all, and he's awesome. And I think that they should always have him in Disney movies forever. That's just my thought on him.
Agreed.
The rest of the cast, like Hiro Hamada, is not the kid Ryan Porter, I think is the kid's name. Not a big name, right? I don't think he's done a bunch of other things. Yeah, cool. But the other one, like Baymax, is played by Scott Adsit from 30 Rock, which is the first place that I knew him from. And to me, like every now and then, I get out of the mindset that he's Baymax and think that it's, you know, I picture Scott Adsit sitting there doing things. So, you know, I think he does a great job. I think he definitely, you know, we talked about this being a very endearing character. I think he does a great job. Robert Callahan was played by James Cromwell, which I had forgotten when I was watching it, and then I saw that in the credits, and I was like trying to explain to my daughter who James Cromwell was.
Who is James Cromwell?
I was about to ask you, who would you explain? This is going to be interesting. Allison seems to have an answer here. Ron, be on deck to tell me. But if someone asked you who James Cromwell was, how would you explain it? Where would you put him, Allison?
What's funny is that he was the professor, right?
He was the
Callahan.
Yes, Callahan.
Okay.
Robert Callahan.
I remember him. The first thing that comes to mind is he was in American Horror Story Asylum, and he was like the doctor that like operated on people.
Okay.
Does
Ron.
anybody remember him?
Ron has a smile on his face. How would you describe him? What would you first describe him as being in?
Zephyr Cochrane from Star Trek: First Contact.
Okay.
Or Prince Philip in The Queen.
Yeah. Here's where my head went. Babe.
Oh.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
He does a ton of things. He's just a great character actor in a lot of things. Like I mentioned he was in, he was in this in First Contact, but he also played like 5 other characters, I think, throughout the course of like different Star Trek series, like different aliens with different makeup and all that. Like he just blends into roles really well.
Yeah, no, I think he does, but I think that's to his detriment, right? Because I think clearly people have a problem, Desi, knowing who James Cromwell is. So, I mean,
I
like
knew
maybe
who he
maybe
was
he's
once I
too
saw
good.
his face.
Yeah.
I just
I
didn't
mean,
know
with
that's what
the
his name was.
with the voice, I thought it was Liam Neeson for a second when I was watching it again today because I forgot who it was.
I could see that.
But then I remembered. But
Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, you're right, he's definitely been around, but like I kind of count him as like a Steven Tobolowsky where like he's been in so many things but nobody really knows who he is.
I don't know who Steven Tobolowsky is either.
Was he in Groundhog Day?
He was.
Is that him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so Steven Tobolowsky, he's kind of a just sort of a character actor and he just, I mean, he's just shows up and stuff and you're like, I don't really know who that is, but that's him. The other one that's a big name in here, like Damon Wayans Jr. plays Wasabi, and I think, what is the weird name? Do you guys remember what the weird name is that they give like the Wasabi in the comics? It's like Wasabi no ginger or something like that.
I can look through the
No,
comic
no,
and tell
no,
you.
no, no. We can come back to that. So anyway, he plays Wasabi. I love the way he plays that character. And then we talked about Alan Tudyk as Alistair Cray, Maya Rudolph as Cass, James Cromwell as Robert Callahan, Ryan Potter as Hiro, Scott Adsit as Baymax, and then T.J. Miller.
Mm-hmm.
T.J. Miller. What do you know T.J. Miller from, Desi?
Apparently, I'm really bad at this tonight. I don't know who any of these people are.
I'm going to show you a picture of T.J. Miller, and I think that hopefully you'll recognize him from this. You ready?
Got some wacky hair.
Oh, he
what
looks
is
like
this?
Fred.
It's Deadpool. This is Deadpool. He was.
Oh, okay.
He
okay.
owned the bar in Deadpool, and was his
Okay.
friend in there. He was also in Yogi Bear. He was one of the Rangers. Remember that?
Yeah.
The live action Yogi
He
Bear.
was. I know him from Cloverfield.
Okay,
He was
and
the friend that held the camera.
he's the guy that runs the incubator in Silicon Valley. So yeah, he's been around a lot. He was a stand-up comedian, but I mean, he's the one who plays Fred, and I think does just an amazing job. And he's just being himself.
He
That's
looks like
literally
Fred.
it. He looks like Fred.
yeah,
Okay. So yeah, that's basically the cast of this thing. So they go in and they have this big presentation and then they leave and he's telling Tadashi how much he wants to be a part of this school and there's a big explosion and then Tadashi runs into the school and then
This
he's
is the
he's
worst death
gone.
in all of Disney, in my opinion.
Ah, well, I was gonna say something about that. Have you guys ever seen this meme?
Tadashi deserved better.
It says, I don't care what anybody says, this is the top 4 saddest Disney deaths of all time. So
No,
it has
Tadashi is sadder than all of the rest of
it
them.
has Ellie and Bing Bong and Mufasa and Tadashi. So
Tadashi number 1,
oh yeah.
for sure.
Why is that?
First off, he was just trying to be a good person, and it turns out he risked his life and died trying to save the bad guy, which obviously he didn't know at the time. So kind of like Mufasa, where it's like, oh, he died because of the bad guy, and he was trying to save somebody. But he was also so young and so brilliant. I mean, look what he was able to do. What was he, like, tops he would have been in his senior year of college, and he was able to create Baymax in just 4 years in college. Imagine what he could have done if he actually, like, became an engineer or, you know, did something to further mankind into the future. It's not just that he died and that was sad, it's the sadness of everything that was lost in the future from his death. And also, Hiro already lost his parents. Wasn't that enough?
I actually put in my
Hashtag
notes was their
Tadashi deserved better.
I put in my notes was their family cursed I mean, again, the parents died, and then
Don't
Tadashi.
you feel just so sad for Aunt Cass because you assume she's already lost her sibling?
You had one
and
job.
Now
I'm just kidding.
she's supposed to be looking after that sibling who has passed away. That let's assume it's her sister's kids. She has not only lost her sister, but then have this responsibility put on her shoulders to take care of her sister's kids, and then loses one of them too. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for Aunt Cat.
Well, and she foreshadows that a little bit when she's breaking them out of jail about, like your parents asked me to take care of you, and here you are. Here's one more meme that's a very similar thing. You can only save one.
Tadashi.
Clearly we know. Come on, Ray?
Ray!
Ain't nobody gonna sing with Ray, okay. Oh man, Ray.
Oh, Ray was really sad too.
Ray, what again? Yeah. So that's another way, Ron, that this is very similar to a Pixar movie. With Disney does tragic deaths all the time, but nobody does a tragic death like Pixar, right?
Oh yeah.
The up's a tough one. The whole first 5 minutes is literally them just like trying to just keep kicking you. I think that's got to be the worst opening 5 minutes of any film, like heart-wrenching wise.
Yeah, no, I think it is. From the beginning, they're just like, we're just going to make you suffer. I mean, if you had to save one, Allison, would it be Tadashi, or do you have other thoughts?
Gosh, I mean, Ellie died of. I mean, she lived a full life, and she was
Fair.
very, very old. So I mean, she's kind of naturally come to the end of her time. Was that the most gut-wrenching death out of all of those? Yeah, it still was.
Because it's very
I don't
real.
know.
A lot of people
I don't know.
can relate to that.
Whenever I see Tadashi run into the fire, I think to myself, "What are you doing? Just leave this to the professionals."
Yeah.
That's the exact opposite of what they tell you that you should do. You stand back and let the firefighters take care of it. That's their job. You're gonna get hurt.
The other thing that made me sad about Tadashi's death is like Aunt Cass is saying, "Let's all go to the cafe. Dinner's on me." He should have just gone with her. That's what I kept yelling at the TV. Go to the cafe, eat, enjoy the time with your friends and family. Instead, him saying, "Hey, Aunt Cass, we're going to hang back a little bit." And then him hanging out there with Hiro is the reason he died.
So the explosion, we think we've lost Tadashi and Robert Callahan in this, and again, a very Japanese memorial to them, right? And it is at that point we're just getting started in the movie. That's about 23 minutes in the movie. We're not even like this is still first act, and so when it's going on, you're just like, wow, what comes next? Because at this point, if you didn't see the trailers or you didn't read the comics or you don't know there's going to be superhero play at this point, right? It's just a very sad story about a family who's been through a lot. It is interesting how, at first, I questioned how the gang from the college was there for Cass and for Hiro, because it was like all of a sudden they're a huge part of the family. But then realizing how important Tadashi was to them, probably that's why they became.
Sure.
They go in to spend more time with them. So Hiro spends a lot of time trying to contemplate the meaning of life after that, and then he's sitting around his room when he realizes that the experiment that Tadashi had worked on for so long, Baymax, is in the room. Like, I don't know how he gets in the room. Like, how did he get there and the Hiro not know that he was in the room, because he'd always been at the lab.
Was it the little red box?
Yeah, it was the little red box, but like, did that just get shipped back and Hiro didn't know it, or?
I mean, I guess they could have shipped all of his stuff out of the lab, but then again, we see what we see in the sequel series, that they didn't. So,
yeah,
But
just
he
very.
has a backup Baymax, so I'm assuming the backup Baymax is the one that's at the lab.
No, he has to make the backup
Because-
one, right?
No, I thought he just plugged plugged it right into the backup that Tadashi had. That's what I assumed at the end of the movie, is that Tadashi had another one made.
I think he only had one. I think
I
think
think
there's
you
only
see
one.
him making it, and then the TV show does like the kind of cuts in between there.
Yeah. I will say that this exchange with Baymax and Hiro, my favorite thing is when all this stuff falls and he says, how would you rate your on a scale from one, on a scale from one, on a scale from one, like, so good. That's one of my favorite moments in this movie, is when that's happening with Baymax. And again, I see Allison smiling ear to ear. Is that also a big moment for you?
Just the reveal, just how, oh, dang it, he's just so cute. And he's just moving, and I just have to demonstrate with my little Baymax, and he's just kind of moving to the side, and he's picking little things up, and he's being so careful, and his books are falling anyway. And he's just trying so hard.
This part where he's like, here's what puberty is, and then all of a sudden they just cover it up at the last minute. He's like, okay, back in the box, right?
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, so he is trying to deal with Tadashi's death, and then Baymax kind of comes as sort of a sense of relief, honestly, to all of us at this point, because it's really on track to be the saddest movie we've ever seen in our entire lives. So as he's doing that, he finds a microbot that's moving around. He thought they were all gone, that they were destroyed in the fire. Then he doesn't think much about it, but Baymax says, would it make you happy if you knew where this thing was going? Then let me find out. And so then he has to chase Baymax all over town, which is similar to the new shorts.
By the way,
Yeah.
So
if Baymax is not fast, then why is Hiro sprinting after him for what seems like miles?
doesn't he have a head start on him? Is that the trick?
But it didn't look like it was that much of a head start.
Yeah, it's a little stretch. A little bit of a stretch, I think.
Okay.
There's a lot of stretch in this movie, to be honest, but it's all fun.
So then they end up at this warehouse, and he's like, "Hey, I found out where your robot's going, and we should go in and I guess we should go in and take a look." Actually, at this point, Baymax is sort of encouraging that. He's like, "Oh, there's an open window. Let's get in there and go in and figure out what's going on, so that this heals you and I can fix what's broken." So it's just him leading him to what he thinks is going to be the thing to fix him and save him. The whole chase scene out, though, with them running from the villain is very funny, with Baymax and them trying to push him through the window and all that kind of stuff. And then from here on out, like, Baymax is the star, right? I mean,
he was
Allison,
the star
not hesitation
from,
up there. She's like,
"Hello,
yep.
I am Baymax."
The whole reason that we're there. So, like I said, the funniest thing to me is that scene, the most memorable scene with him going, how would, on a scale from all that, until they get to the police station. The police station bit with him and starting the whole idea of drunk Baymax and the tape and all that kind of stuff is so funny. But so the cop, again, something that's very like burned into my mind is the part where he's like, "So a man with a kabuki mask," and I'm like, it's too good. I don't know. Ron, police station thoughts?
It's a scene I think everybody in the theater was just rolling on the floor with that scene the first time, and it might be my favorite scene in the movie just from the laughter. But I was thinking about this when I was watching it today. Is like, if illegal bot fights are like a common thing, shouldn't robots be a little more known in the city? That's just one thing that just occurred to me today. Like, if they're having all these illegal bot fights and stuff in the street that the cops are obviously setting up like sting operations for, if the first scene is anything like, are robots more common than we see in the movie? Like, I mean, obviously nobody freaks out with Baymax running down the street, so they have to be something.
I mean, I guess. I don't know what the police do. They make the police seem kind of dumb.
It was the stereotypical, was like Officer Crumpkey, kind of like the New York Irish cop in the middle of San Fransokyo.
So there's this Easter egg in the police department, though. Are you familiar? Allison's nodding her head. Which one am I talking about?
It's a Flynn Rider wanted poster behind the cop.
Really?
Am I incorrect about that? There's a Flynn Rider in the back.
It's not Flynn.
It's not Flynn?
No, it's the directors, I believe.
Is it the director? Somebody? Oh.
No, it's Hans is the one I knew, yeah.
Yeah, Hans is the one that I was thinking of over there.
Okay. I knew there was
yeah.
somebody from a different Disney movie.
Right. So the Hans thing, there's a wanted poster for Hans up then in there. So yeah, that's definitely a cool little thing. It's Prince Hans from Frozen and Nathan Greeno and Byron Howard, the directors of Tangled and Bolt, respectively. So it's not the directors of this movie, but the directors of those two movies. So yeah, but there's also another Hans.
Training montage.
Yes, exactly. That's where I was going with that. This one where you see him when he punches or throws his punch, the statue, but it happens so quickly that you don't really even get to see it happen, right? So like the statue is only in a pause thing. Can you see it? Here's the actual scene. Like it happens so quickly you wouldn't have been able to see it. But why does Fred have this at his place? I don't know. So they go back to the house, and Drunk Baymax is a great scene as well. Like him going into the house. Is it your favorite?
This is my favorite.
Harry Baby.
I have Funko
Harry
Pop.
Baby.
You have Oh, that's specifically Drunk Baymax? Hang on a second.
It is specifically Drunk Baymax with the Harry, I don't know, the reflection. I don't know if you can kind of see.
Yeah.
He's petting Mochi in there.
Yeah, with his eyes the way they are. That's funny.
Cute.
Yeah.
I think that's the scene that cemented my love of Baymax is the Harry Baby scene.
Because he loves cats?
The drunk Baymax and it's the way he jumped out a window. Like that's hysterical.
Yes.
Yes, so good. So once they leave here and they go and they get him recharged, then they decide they're going to try to find out who this guy is, and so they find out that they go back to the wharf, and they during this time, Baymax has called the other kids, and so they kind of meet up with them there, and then there's a huge chase scene. I love that chase scene so much that as I was watching it, and I don't know if Ron, Desi, Allison, if you guys ever do this or not, but as the chase scene was happening, like I was thinking this could be a ride. Like, I mean, no?
Not here, but I think that other things, obviously.
My idea for a Big Hero 6 ride would be more of a flight of passage, and you would be riding on Baymax's back the same way the hero does.
Interesting, yeah. But this one, this chase scene, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of it that was really cool in the way that it happened and ends up in the water and all that stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was really neat.
If it's a ride, then I really want to, at the end of it, be able to spoon a warm marshmallow, as Fred says.
Yeah. So they end up at the bottom of the ocean. They go back to regroup at Fred's house. This is where they find out that Fred is filthy rich and a huge comic book nerd, and I love every bit of that. I want to be his best friend. And so then Baymax is saying that he has scanned the bad guy, and Hiro's like putting together a plan and says, we need to give you all upgrades. And it's like, all right, now the kid in a room full of the smartest people is like the smartest of the smartest people, and they're just going to take his lead on this. Nobody questions that. Ron, you were questioning a whole bunch of things. Did you not question this?
Well, I like that he uses their own specialties. Like he doesn't invent the powers to give them. He takes their inventions and finds a practical use, which, sometimes scientists miss. They just are trying to invent something and don't see the other use. And I think that's kind of, if he's going to be the leader, that's kind of the skills, that come with the leadership is putting everybody together. It's, Walt wasn't the best animator. He wasn't the ride designer, but he knew how to get people to do those things.
Gotcha. I agree. I think that's a good way to put it. The most important part of the montage has to be the Fall Out Boy song, right?
I've had it in my head all day.
When I talked about this movie leading up to it, I heard people singing the Wreck-It Ralph, "When Will I See You Again?" I'm like, no, this is not Owl City. This is the Fall Out Boy. This is Immortals, and it's literally one of the only songs in this movie. I mean, there's a stinger for Eye of the Tiger when they're about to like get all ramped up, but the rest of it is just, I don't know. It's really
the score. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Is it Michael Giacchino that does the score for this one?
Giacchino or Beck?
Yeah. But yeah, the whole montage where they're getting ready and suited up is kind of amazing. And Ron, to your point about like Fred's outfit with the, the super jump and this poor butler.
He doesn't seem to care.
No, he doesn't seem to care.
Henry Jackman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did I watch recently that had Giacchino's music in it? I don't know.
Everything.
I am a huge...
He's directing now?
Is he really?
He's doing the Werewolf by Night movie for Disney Plus.
Okay.
Which I believe they're going to be filming near me in Norwood soon. And
you'll be live on location.
If it's not close enough for that, but
okay. So they fly through the city. There's a lot of Japanese references when they're flying through the city with the signage and the lanterns and things like that, which is kind of cool. So they fly through the city, and then they figure out that this person that they're looking for, that they've scanned and found him on this island, and they go to the island. So again, feels very San Francisco at this point. But they go to the island and break in, and they haven't really kind of synergized their superhero fighting skills. But again, through a little bit more exposition, we hear and realize what the whole secret is behind this bad guy is that there was this horrible experiment that went wrong, and they lost Abigail, and she was lost into this like what are we calling that, transporter?
Void.
Kind of a thing.
Stargate, Harmonious Barge.
Oh, Harmonious
Barge.
That's what we're calling it, this Harmonious Barge. And it's kind of neat to see that, but at this point now they're assuming that Alistair Cray is the one who is the bad guy here, because he's the one on video. But in doing their research, then they missed one vital key, which was it was really Mr. Callahan's daughter who got lost in this thing. So here's the Alistair throwing the hat through the Stargate, the Harmonious Barge. They're watching this whole video. It's a neat concept, but it feels very Ant-Man to me as well. Like it's almost like there's a quantum realm that they're going into. So then they face the bad guy, and they realize that it is Robert Callahan, and he's back alive. Now, all through this is... I kept hoping Tadashi was coming back. Anyone else?
Me too. The first time I saw it, I kept thinking, well, if he's alive, then surely Tadashi must be alive somewhere, and he's holding him ransom.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
It was a good reveal. It really was a good villain reveal, though.
Yeah, but again, I'm just like, well, where's Tadashi, man? Because there was all this stuff where Baymax was like, Tadashi is here. Tadashi is here. That's cruel. That's cruel, because it was right after we found out about Callahan being alive, and it's just like, okay.
And it's like, oh, he can scan, and he can see where Tadashi is. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's what I thought.
All right, Allison, I have to ask you. Your warm, fuzzy, marshmallow friend, when this scene happens, how are you feeling?
Oh,
he's still
this
cute.
one.
When he goes bad Baymax, and he is a bad a bad A Baymax. I'm just saying, when he goes and he cannot be stopped, I mean, it's full on Hulk, and it's kind of
he's
amazing.
Just going for it.
But you're still,
and he can't help it.
but you're still on board with him, though.
I'm still on board with it. He can't help it. It's just, part of his programming was messed with, so it's not his fault. He's the robot, and he's just doing the only thing he's programmed to do, and until he gets his real chip back, when he gets his normal programming back, he's all apologetic, and he's saying he's sorry, and he didn't mean to do it, and he hopes that he didn't cause too much harm. So that's the real Baymax.
And he doesn't let Hiro mess with his chip again. He keeps it closed. And it also kind of reminded me of Lola from Obi-Wan, where, she got the bad chip in her, and her eyes turned red, and she went all crazy. And then as soon as the chip was out, then she was cute, lovable Lola again.
Yeah. Well, that's also the whole Tadashi is here thing, where he's like, oh, Tadashi is here. Like, I got video of Tadashi. He's not dead. I got video. All right. Whatever, dude. That's not Tadashi. And you're mean because you said that right after we had the reveal that Callahan was alive. I'm just saying. That was the thing that was very bothersome to me at the first time I watched it. And it's one of those things, like a lot of movies, I don't know if I'm the only person that does this, but when you're watching it, you go, just this time, let's let it be different. Just this one time when I'm watching it, let's let it somehow be different. That it's, Because again, to your point earlier, Desi, about like having his whole life ahead of him and how tragic this is, you see it again. Like, we're forced to watch it again, which just makes it so hard. And part of me was like, why haven't I watched this movie in a while? And then I'm watching it, I'm like, 'cause it's a hard one. I mean, Ron, I know you've got skin of steel, but I mean, do you find the same problems when you're watching it?
It's a superhero origin story. I wasn't expecting him to come back just because it's Uncle Ben. Really.
Gotcha.
He plays that role, and it's kind of, it's part of Hiro's journey. If he came back, I don't see Hiro becoming who he is at the end of the movie.
Yep, Hiro's sacrifice is what it is, right? So, again, thank you guys for watching tonight. We really appreciate it. We've got it's a little bit more to talk about in this, but before we do, I want to, again, ask you to please give the video a like, subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content, and then maybe I thought, because we've got a group of people here who loves this movie so dearly that we may, like, throw them a couple, I don't know, trivia questions. Does that sound like a good idea? I mean, I just, off the top of my head, I just thought that might be a good idea.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, it should be pretty easy. So, how hard should we make these? So
I feel like Allison is the expert.
Oh, okay, then we can make them super hard. We're cool. So, when they go and get the gummy bears out of the vending machine, how much are the gummy bears, Allison?
Oh, God, I don't know. I just remember that he wanted to get gummy bears.
Where is that machine, by the way? Was it in Tadashi's, like,
it's in his, like, garage or something.
Yeah, how does that happen?
It just has a vending machine. And also, why are you paying for your own, if you own it? What's happening?
Yes, why? What's going on there? It doesn't make any sense. They were $1.25. I thought you would know that. You're a super fan.
That's
I'm just kidding.
for gummy bears.
I'm just happy that I know the voice actors for things. I think that might be where my knowledge stops.
Okay.
But we'll see.
What's the actual name of the nerd school?
It is, oh crap.
San Fransokyo Tech.
Yeah, it was something like that. But then there's a sign out. Is it outside like the convention hall? It starts with the letter I.
Eco somebody.
I thought the logo was an SF.
That's the robotics school inside it.
That's okay. And then it's like this San Fransokyo, like, yeah, I think something with Desi said.
No, well, I think Ron pretty much nailed it. It is the San Fransokyo Institute of Technology. Yes.
Ah, sit.
No, just sit. Just sit. When Tadashi was listing off all of the things that Baymax could do, How much did he say Baymax could lift?
1,000 pounds.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Which he definitely lifts more in this film.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, and maybe that was after the upgrades. I already mentioned this at the beginning, but how old was Hiro when he graduated high school?
He was
13.
13.
Yeah. When Honey Lemon is demonstrating her power or her experiment, she has a large ball. It is tungsten carbide. How many pounds of tungsten carbide?
Is it 400?
Good golly, look at that. Nailed it. 400. And the final question is the news channel that follows the exploits of Big Hero 6, the new superhero team that saved the day. What channel is that?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel it's going to be an Easter egg for something.
WDWNT TV.
Is it like A113? Is it like one of those Easter eggs?
7?
Is it really 7?
News Channel 7, yes. It's News
Oh.
Channel 7, so there you go. Yeah, you know what, I just thought I'd throw a couple of those things out there. So, let's...
Okay, I thought for sure you were going to ask what's the name of the butler.
Oh, because I just said Butler? It's Jeeves, right?
No,
Heathcliff.
it's
Is it
Yeah.
Heathcliff? It's Heathcliff, okay. I always ask Jeeves.
Because that was one of the things that stuck out to me. It was like, oh, this seems like something Rob would ask. So that's why I remembered it.
Nah. So when they get into this battle at the end with Callahan has decided he's going to take Cray down. And by the way, I thought it was spelled like being cray, like K, like CRAY, but it's KREI, just like it sounds. No, it's not like it sounds. So he uses the microbots, and he's going to take down Cray and take away his big fortress building. And the heroes kind of come into their own in this point to match wits with him. And when they finally match up with him, they win, but they realize that there's a life form inside of the transporter, and they decide they need to go in. Did they learn nothing from Tadashi's sacrifice? That's what I'm asking. Come
Apparently
on.
not.
So, is there any irony to the fact that Tadashi's creation sacrifices himself in the same way that Tadashi did?
Oh, God, now you're going to break my heart all over again.
I mean, that's what
And
this programming would
another
be.
time when he said there's a life form, I thought, oh my God, it's Tadashi.
Right,
Then I
exactly.
said it was a
Yeah.
female life form.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, again, they completely toy with our emotions. This character, kind of like Boba Fett, that was only on the screen for a little bit of time, and we've fallen in love with him. Poor Tadashi. But yeah, everything's coming into this basically like a wormhole situation. Callahan learns that it might be his daughter in there. They decide they're going to go in, and rescue him. I feel like Callahan didn't have enough emotion about the excitement that it might be his daughter, and that when she was finally released and saved. No?
Maybe he didn't want to build himself up for that hope to be disappointed.
Maybe.
And if she's coming back, his guilt is just hitting him all at the same time,
Yeah.
too.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But again, the inside of this looks a lot like, again, Ant-Man, the Quantum Realm to me. But I don't know what else I would have expected it to look like. Maybe I didn't expect it to be that big in there. I don't know. So what they do is they find her, but they realize that there's going to be no way out for Baymax, and so they have that sad little moment where he's like, "Are you satisfied with your care?"
No.
Allison, don't cry. Don't cry, because if you cry, we're going to cry.
Every time I see that scene. Every
Yeah.
time I see it, I cry. No, I do.
But even though you know he's going to be okay?
Because it's just, oh God, it's just so beautiful. It's just sacrificing yourself, and it's so beautiful and pure, and he's saying how he's always gonna be there, and I'm like, oh no. He's not gonna. It's like it's the same thing as like no matter how many times I watch the end of Toy Story 3 or the beginning of Up, I know what's gonna happen, but I'm still so sad. It just yanks at your heartstrings.
Yeah. Well, and go ahead, Ron.
I was thinking the end of Iron Giant to me really hits in there.
We're not going to talk about that.
We Are Groot. That's what it made me think of.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You know, what's funny, though, is none of these are really people that we're talking about. You know, it's really, that's something we talked about when we were talking about Obi-Wan the other week, is that, like, I felt more akin to the robot or the, you know, the droid who was protecting them than like the tens of people that were slaughtered. It was like, they're just people. But the robot, what happened to him? You know, because there's something about it. Yeah, exactly. Oh no. So, you know, then when they've saved the day and Tadashi's decided, I mean, not Tadashi, Hiro's decided he's going back to the school and he's going to, you know, kind of finish what he meant to do before Tadashi died. And he gets in there and he gives the fist bump to just the fist. And then he realizes, oh, wait, there's something else in here. And then he pulls open the fist and sees that somehow Baymax was able to have the foresight to take his card that has all of his information on it and put it inside the fist before he popped it off. I never saw him do that, though. So, and then he comes back to life and it's happy, and he's Baymax, and then, you know, we're all excited, and it's like the end. And then there's the post-credit scene, though. I mean, you know, they really strung us along and they hurt our hearts, but then we get the post-credit scene payoff with Stan Lee's cameo as Fred's dad, which is so funny.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish, though, I would love to see, I don't think there was one, some sort of a backstory about Fred and his father. Like, he's got this superhero lair and he's got all this superhero stuff. But, like, what superhero is he? And, you know, like, shouldn't there be a story about this?
I agree, there should be.
Isn't there...
Those are Thor-looking underpants.
Backstory, like, Stan Lee, the reason he is in all of the Marvel movies is because he's actually the Watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a theory. I remember, I think one of the directors hinted that might be.
So yeah, that's the whole movie, and then after that there were some other things. The Big Hero 6 TV show I was very excited about, and then I was disappointed because the animation was not the same, and the actors weren't all in there. Did anybody watch the whole thing?
No.
Just the 2 pilots, really.
Allison?
I think I watched through season 2. I don't think I watched season 3 yet.
It's not bad. It's just what I was telling the crew earlier. My daughter is afraid of Baymax, like even like white fluffy Baymax. So she's just kind of getting over that now. Like, I think I just got her to watch the movie in the last month without freaking out. Like, I would put the little toy on the desk and she'd run out of the room. So she was really creeped out by Baymax, and I don't know why.
Well, look
My
how
kids
sad
think
Allison
he's
is
adorable.
about that. She doesn't. She's like, why would you not like Baymax? So yeah, the animation's weird. It just didn't seem. It didn't like. I wanted there to be a sequel because when it ends, it feels like it's the end of a superhero origin movie, like you said, Ron. I wanted there to be a sequel, like a true sequel to it that showed them in their next like phase of being superheroes. And so I guess this series was kind of that. But not enough for me to want to watch it. I don't think I watched any of it. And then there were a series of Baymax shorts from the series as well. And then now there's the new series, which is it just dropped on Disney Plus, which is kind of what made us have this conversation originally, called Baymax. And each one of these is about, I think, 11 minutes long, and it's really about Baymax continuing his care to people, which is a really neat thing. And Cass hurts her leg, and he decides to take care of the cafe, but he's kind of horrible at it. But then you realize he's not as bad as she thought he was, and But then each of the stories leads up to the final episode, which is kind of neat. I wasn't expecting that either.
Is Aunt Cass still Maya Rudolph?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is the. I mean, it's only Ryan, Scott, and Maya are the only three that I think return for this. But I mean, they're the only ones you need for this because the rest of them are all new characters. Mm-hmm. So it was very well done. I thought. Allison, did you watch this series?
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, come on, don't let me down. You watched this series, right? What did you think?
I feel like this is when I saw the Big Hero 6 the TV show. This is what I was hoping the TV show would be, and I got only 6 very short little episodes, but they were so wonderful. Like through the movie, you don't truly see Baymax as a healthcare companion in action. You see him do some things with Hiro and some others, but you don't really see him do what he was programmed to do. And with these shorts, you see him going around doing what Tadashi meant for him to do, helping everybody that he can.
Yeah, no, I agree. My only problem was I didn't expect them to be this short. You know, they've announced a lot of Disney Plus spin-off series, like the Zootopia Plus, like one for Moana, one for Tiana, and this one. And I was just like, this is exciting. There's going to be 30-minute episodes because an episode is usually 30 minutes or more, right? And then when it was like, these are 11 minutes, and that's being generous because of the intro and the end credits. 11 to 12 minutes is just not long enough, although I think they do a good job telling the story. But it's just another series of shorts that doesn't feel like a series.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and there's only 6 of them. I'm like, wait, that's it? Are they gonna make more? Is this it? Or do we have to wait a couple of weeks to get more? I don't know. But I think
unfortunately this is season 1. The way that it ended with them all together, I think it's season 1. But at least it's there. And so because it was there, this leads me into some of the conversation I wanted to have quickly about the parks and Baymax, because I don't think there's enough Big Hero 6. We were talking about like the idea of a ride. Like I think it needs like a dark ride, or it needs a coaster or an experience or something like that. We can talk about that in a second, Desi, but look at this. This thing outside of Hollywood Studios, I could not wait to go see this, and I think Allison, you were the same way.
Oh, it's glorious. I
texted Allison as soon as I saw this, and I was like, we need to go to Hollywood Studios.
I did a couple of days ago. I finally saw it, and I got pictures, and I brought some Baymaxes with me to take pictures of the world's biggest Baymax, and it was glorious.
Nice. Well, I mean, at least they're doing a little bit of something to tie in. I love it when they tie in Disney Plus stuff with the parks, but also that they're doing more Baymax tie-in. Because before that, really all we had was this meet and greet, like where it was set up like Hiro's shop. That's not Hiro. That's not. What are they trying to pull on us? That's not Hiro. But the Baymax, I assume that you guys have done. Desi, have you done the Baymax meet and greet?
Of course.
Did you?
And when they took Hiro away, I was upset. So I did a gender bend cosplay as Hiro to go meet Baymax.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think that Allison and I need to do Go-Go and Honey Lemon.
That'd be fun.
Which one's going to be which?
I am going to be Honey Lemon, obviously.
Because of the purse. Got it. You know, Ron, are you and your daughter going to steer clear of this meet and greet?
I think I can get her to it now. Well, if I get her to any meet and greet, I'm dreading that. Like, we had to leave Topolino's, like, during breakfast last time.
Oh, no.
She just flipped out. She did not like the meet. She's not a character kid yet. I mean, she's at that 3, and she just flipped out. Like, she was so excited. Gonna see Mickey. Gonna see Ariel. Gonna see... Ah!
Did she like the characters before?
When we took her last year and she was 2, she was fine.
Okay.
It was that this time. I'm hoping our next trip she's a lot better. Otherwise, with the character, like our next thing is going to be a cruise, and the characters just kind of wander around the boat sometimes. So if she turns a corner and sees something and flips out, I don't know what's going to happen.
You know what? Leave her home, take me. So Chief Leaf said the funniest meet and greet to me is still the one they had for Lightyear. It looked like cosplay. Yeah, that did look like some dude just walking around in a space costume. That didn't look like Buzz Lightyear in any way, shape, or form. But also,
not my Buzz.
yeah, right, in the land of promise in Japan, they've got the Happy Ride with Baymax, which
so
is
cute.
like our Alien Swirling Saucers or Mato's Junkyard Jamboree. And Allison, you said you had you showed, I think, at the beginning, the popcorn bucket for this one.
Yeah, I have the popcorn bucket. I'm going to tell you why it's better than Mater's or just Alien Swirling Saucers, even though it's the same ride mechanics. They have 6 songs that they wrote exclusively for this ride. How awesome is that?
Well, that's what I love about Mater's. I think Swirling Saucers has to be the worst of them.
Yeah, I love that the car behind looks like Hiro's helmet. That's kind of neat. Yeah, it's a really cute ride and a great popcorn bucket. Super jealous of the popcorn bucket.
So I know that you want it to be a ride, but my theory for why they're showing him more as a healthcare companion in the TV show is they need to theme all of the first aids around the parks to Baymax. And they need, at the end of your visit, you need to tell them whether or not you're satisfied with your care.
Oh,
I think that would be awesome.
That would be
They
great
need
for
to have that chart there that Allison has on her shirt.
Yeah. On a scale. Okay. Yeah, that would be cool. What?
Similar to, it's more of a gripe than an idea. When when things were reopening and they were like, okay, we have all these hand wash stations and wear your mask and all of those kinds of things. Who should have been the mascot for all of that health and safety? You literally have a character that is a healthcare companion. Why did you make it the Incredibles? I don't understand. I'm just going to say that. I'm just putting that out there.
I don't know, because they already had dipped into the Incredibles pool for the original Magic Band rollout, I believe. I think that was another time when they leaned into the Incredibles. I love the Incredibles, but you're right. I think that would have been a neat one to see.
They are
The
leaning
toys
heavy into
never
the
sold
Incredibles
as well.
lately.
You said they never sold as well?
I'm guessing that's got to be it, as the toys never sold as well. I think everything up there I got on clearance, basically.
I would buy 100 Baymax toys before I would buy one Mr. Incredible toy, or any of them.
And I have, so there you go.
Best cupcake or worst cupcake?
Oh no.
Creepiest cupcake?
The best cupcake is still going to be Stitch. The Stitch cupcake is still the cutest one.
Okay. That was funny. All right. So I think we've covered everything. Everybody, so I think we've come to the very special reveal moment, which I don't think is going to be a surprise to anybody about this, about final thoughts on the movie. And again, if you have not already, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you watching. Also, a shout out to our WIGS members, our Patreon program. We love our WIGS. Patreon.com/WDWNT to find out how to become a member. We have great benefits, including post shows for News Tonight and Park Center, and we would love to have you become a member of our community. So go check it out. But now, here's the moment that everybody's been waiting for. This is why they tuned in, Allison, so you got to be ready. You know what? I'm going to go to you last. We're going to start with Ron. And I got to know, the people got to know, Ron Deanna, would you recommend this movie?
I am satisfied with this movie.
Oh.
Oh, you stole my line!
Such a good line.
No, it's fantastic. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a great adventure story. It's a good personal story. It's got memorable characters. It's got everything you really want out of a Disney movie completely.
Okay. Desi?
Yes, I recommend this movie. I feel like it's super underrated. I don't think that it gets as much representation, not only in the parks, but with toys, and I'm glad that they're finally doing, a Disney Plus show with some shorts. And hashtag Tadashi deserved better.
Okay, and Miss Allison?
Yes, I would recommend that you watch this movie. I am not as much of a fan of the rest of the movie without Baymax, but to watch it with Baymax, yes, go watch it. Please watch it for Baymax. He's wonderful. But don't be surprised if the rest of the movie is very good. Not the best ever, though.
Wow, that's
Really?
yeah, that's big. I would say I would recommend this movie wholeheartedly. I think that Ron, I think you touched on it, that it is underrated. I think maybe people have passed over this one before, either because it didn't fit the Disney mold of it's a princess movie or it's a storybook movie. It's something different. I think it's a really neat thing, and I would go a step further and to say that I feel like there should be some kind of an MCU crossover.
Oh.
Yes.
It's a multiverse movie now.
Could be. I mean, usually Marvel does. I've mentioned this before. Marvel does real cities. Things take place in New York. Things take place in real cities, as opposed to DC, where you've got Gotham and Metropolis and Central City. And yet they've made one up in this movie, which had taken place in the comic in a real place, and now it's in a pretend place. But it'll be interesting to see if there ever is a crossover. Dave Filoni has done a great job of bringing all of his animated friends and making them live action. In the Star Wars universe, it would be neat to see some sort of an incarnation of Baymax, whether it's the one from the comic or the one from the movie. So definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys on the panel for being here, and don't forget that next week, actually, we had a change up, and we're going to be doing Enchanted to get everybody ready for the Disenchanted sequel that is coming. Oh my gosh, nobody told Allison. She's very upset.
Nobody told me either.
Yes, so we're doing Enchanted instead of, we were going to do Anastasia, but Anastasia is not available at this time. It was, but they removed it from Disney Plus, so we'll have to circle back to that one at some point. And also, still planning on doing a Lindsay Lohan month in August, but I'm still trying to figure out if I can get everybody excited about that or not. So if we do that, we'll end up doing
It's going to be Fetch.
Parent Trap. That's wrong deal. It would be Parent Trap, Get a Clue, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Herbie Fully Loaded, and Freaky Friday. So, but thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Stay subscribed to WDWNT TV for more great content, and we will see you next time.